Hey friends, today I have a tutorial for you showing you how to choose keywords for your YouTube videos. So finding keywords is partly about choosing topics for your videos and deciding what videos you should make on your channel. But it's also about figuring out exactly what words or phrases other people are using to describe those topics that you're going to make videos about so that you can use those words and phrases in your video, title, description, etc., and get your videos to rank for those terms, so that when someone types in one of those keywords into YouTube, they find your video and watch your video, you get a view and maybe even a new subscriber. So I'm going to share my screen with you and walk you through the process of how to find awesome keywords for your videos, and we're also going to talk about what makes a keyword better or worse and how to decide which ones to use. So the first thing you have to do is just choose the topics for your videos. You need to have some sort of guidance, some sort of plan about what your channel is about. So I like to do this by pulling up a Google Doc, and you can start with just kind of those big buckets. So for our example channel, let's say you want to have a channel about watercolor painting. That's your main topic. And then within that, kind of what are your subtopics? What are the big buckets your content will fall into? I've done this already, come up with two different ones. Maybe it will have watercolor tutorials where you'll actually do painting tutorials, and then maybe also some watercolor or art product reviews. Now, you quite possibly will want to have more than two main categories, maybe three or even four. Although two could be fine, it just is you might struggle to come up with enough content ideas in that case. But it's fine to start with just a couple, because through this process you are going to be finding a lot more ideas. And then your second step is brainstorming ideas. So within each of these different kind of big picture topics, we want to come up with more specific ideas. So maybe you have ideas for specific things you want to paint. So like deer painting tutorial. Okay, so I'm not claiming my ideas are genius here, but I'm just giving you an example of the sort of things maybe you would come up with. And then moving on to this second topic, maybe we could be reviewing different brands of paint. Now, since this is not my area of expertise, I can only come up with a limited number of ideas. Hopefully whatever you are planning your channel about, you have a lot more ideas and a lot more specific ideas than I'm having about watercolor painting right now. And I'd recommend that you write down just as many ideas as you can. Aim for at least 30 or so ideas. But like I said, it's fine if you don't have quite enough ideas yet, because that's what we're going to do next, is find some more ideas. So how we're going to do that, first of all, is by researching competitors. So you're going to head over to YouTube, and maybe you already know some of your competitors or some of the top channels that talk about these topics. You could start there. But if not, you can just start by searching the topics that you have already put on your list of video ideas. So I'm going to start with just watercolor painting tutorial. So you're just going to scroll down here and you're going to look at these different channels, and I would recommend just opening up the ones that look interesting to you. And you'll probably want to look at least about 10 or so channels, but I'm just going to look at a few right now. And so you're doing two things here. One is you're looking for video ideas that have been popular for them. You're also looking for video ideas that are just interesting to you. And the perfect scenario is where there's overlap between those two things. An idea that's interesting to you, you want to talk about it on your channel, and also was popular on this other channel that is similar to the channel you want to create. Now, as you look at each of these channels, you might find that some of them are really different from what you are planning to create. And in that case, I'd recommend mostly disregarding that channel and not really taking into account what worked for them, since they built a different channel than you want to build anyway. But so you're just going to look at their most recent videos and see what has done the best for them most recently. So for example, in the last few months here, I see most of their videos didn't get very many views, but this one right here, it got more than the others. So how to draw a galaxy. So maybe we could research that idea more, but what we can do right now is we can at least put it on a list of kind of potential ideas down here. The other thing you're going to want to do on these channels is sort by most popular and see what all-time their most popular videos have been. This can give you some great ideas, but don't just take these ideas at face value. because we're going to need to do a little bit more keyword research to fully suss them out and make sure that they are good. But when you're looking at these most popular ideas, you want to be giving the most weight to the ones that say that they were published 1 year ago or less, because if they say 1 year ago, that means it could be up to 2 years. And if they say 2 years, that means 2 to 3 years. And anything older than about 2 years, it's not going to be the most relevant data. So as I look through these video ideas, I see here this one is the most popular one that they did that was published within the last 2 years. So I could add that to my list here. Calm sunset painting for beginners. And as you notice, this is an acrylic painting tutorial. My channel is going to be about watercolor. Maybe my audience or my future audience will be interested in this topic, or maybe not. Again, we're going to need to research the idea a little bit more. The other thing that I do notice about this video idea is that it was actually posted as a YouTube short, which definitely could skew the data. I'm still interested in it just because it sounds like an interesting idea that I might want to do on my channel, and there's a little bit of evidence that it might be a popular idea, but this is just one more reason why we can't take this idea at face value, and we need to do that more research. And now that I've come up with some ideas, I'm going to move on to the next step. But when you're really doing this, I would highly recommend coming up with way more ideas than this, because the more ideas you come up with, the greater your chances are of coming up with winner ideas. So it just gives you more to pull from. Once you have plenty of ideas, then you're going to move on to doing some real keyword research. So you're going to pull up Google AdWords Keyword Planner tool. This is my favorite tool for doing keyword research. There are a couple other good ones, but the reason this one is my favorite is because it gets its data straight from the source. So as you probably know, Google owns YouTube, and Google has the actual data for the searches people are doing on Google and on YouTube, whereas everyone else, if you're using like TubeBuddy or something like that, you know, it's a great tool, but it is deriving its data from Google AdWords data. And so a lot of the time it can get a little bit corrupted in translation. So I like to go straight to the source. So we're going to start with just watercolor painting tutorial, and then we're going to hit that get results button. And so this is going to tell us two main things. One is it's going to tell us data on the topic we searched for itself, and then it's also going to give us other keyword ideas. So looking just at that first watercolor painting tutorial, it looks like it's about moderately popular, 1 to 10,000 searches per month. A lot of people, of course, are searching for something a little bit more specific than that, and it's moderately competitive. We'll talk more in a little bit about what to do with that information. But right now, just looking down here, we've also got lots more new ideas. Watercolor tutorial, watercolor pencil tutorial, YouTube watercolor tutorials, step-by-step watercolor painting, easy painting with watercolor. Now, as you'll notice, a lot of these ideas, they're only moderately popular, and they're quite broad. And with your video ideas, when it actually comes to the title and the specific topic of your video, you want it to be a lot more specific than this, because if you have a video that is as general as just easy painting with watercolor or watercolor tutorials, even though there's a decent number of searches for that term every month, people won't want to click on that video because it doesn't tell them specifically enough what the video is about. So you just want to make sure that you are choosing one of these as kind of one of the core keywords for your video to try to rank your video for that, but that you are getting a lot more specific with the actual topic of the video. Now, the other tool that you can and should use when you are doing YouTube keyword research is YouTube itself, okay? YouTube, again, we're going to the source, we're looking at the actual data here, and there's two different things you can do on YouTube. One is to just search for the term and then look at the results. And you can get a lot more specific with this. So for example, galaxy painting tutorial. Let's try searching for that. So there are two main things I'm looking for here. The first one is, are the top search results, or at least most of them, aligned with my idea for this video? So for example, are they actually painting tutorials? Are they painting tutorials of galaxies? And in my case, since I'm planning to do watercolors, are any of them watercolors? On the other hand, I could find things that are not related to what I wanted to talk about. Like maybe there's a brand of paints called Galaxy Paints that I didn't know about, and I discover that all of these galaxy painting tutorials are actually tutorials using galaxy paints or something like that. And so that would tell me that people are looking for something different when they search for this term, and that the algorithm has figured that out. And if I make a galaxy painting tutorial, I probably won't be able to rank for this term. But in fact, as we can see here, these different search results are tutorials of how to paint galaxies, and it seems like there are a lot of them. They just kind of keep going on and on. A lot of them look to me like they're probably not watercolors. However, I see this one right here is actually watercolors, but some of them are using acrylics and stuff like that. But the other thing that I want to pay attention to, besides are these aligned with what I want to create, is how many views did these top results get? We've got 500,000 here, 4 million, 200,000, this one has 1 million, 500,000. So as you can see, this is a pretty popular topic. People seem to really like watching this type of painting tutorial. It's not something obscure that only a few people are interested in painting, and that means that this is potentially a really good keyword if it's something that I am interested in talking about on my channel. The other thing that you can do on YouTube itself is you can have TubeBuddy installed, which is just a free Chrome extension. You sign up for it, and then it's going to populate some data here for you whenever you're searching on YouTube or looking at a video. And so this tells me that the search volume for this term is fair, is what they're calling it. But we can clearly see that these videos are getting views. So either a sufficient number of people are searching for it, or else it's just getting really popular in suggested. So YouTube is suggesting these tutorials to the right sort of people, and people are clicking on them. Either way, they're getting views. And that's why it's so important to actually go to the source and see what's actually working on YouTube itself. Don't just use TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy's a great tool and you can learn some things from it, but it really shouldn't be your bread and butter. So the other thing that we see on TubeBuddy here is that it's saying the competition is poor. And so what TubeBuddy means by that is that there is a lot of competition, there are a lot of videos on this topic, and so your chances of ranking for this topic are more slim. Now, there's a couple things to keep in mind here. One is that the most important thing really is the popularity. We want to make sure that we're making videos about topics that a lot of people are really interested in, because that is going to be a more sure ticket to YouTube success. My own results have proven this, as well as we've now tested this on literally thousands of channels, and this is what we found to be the best way to grow channels. And also, I have direct contacts with YouTube, with my YouTube partner manager, etc., and they have confirmed this whenever I've asked them that that is their recommended strategy as well, is to focus more on the popular topics. And sure, it's great if you can find what's called a content gap, where there is a popular or a moderately popular topic or keyword that also has very little competition. That is the perfect situation, but most of the time you have to choose one or the other. It's either a more popular topic that's also more competitive, or a much less popular topic that's also less competitive. And if those are your two options, it's definitely better to go with the more popular terms, even though they might also be more competitive. And so for that reason, I don't give much weight to TubeBuddy's keyword score, this number down here, how good they're telling you the keyword is, because they ascribe to a different school of thought, and what they're telling you here is basically that this is going to be a more difficult keyword to rank for. And that's true. It is easier to rank for less competitive terms, but you're going to get more views for just ranking somewhere or getting suggested for more popular terms. So again, it's true that this isn't going to be the best keyword to rank for, but it's not true that that means that this isn't a good keyword to use for videos on your channel. Now, something else you might be wondering is, like, what makes a keyword good? You know, I said it needs to be more popular. Well, how popular? How many searches does it need to have per month? Either hear what TubeBuddy's telling us, or hear what Google AdWords is telling us. And the answer is, it's relative. It really, really is, because in different niches, different numbers will be considered good or considered bad. And what really matters is, of all the keywords you're considering using in your videos, some of them will be better and some of them will be worse. And you want to make sure that you are choosing the better, more popular keywords that are also the most closely aligned with what you actually want to create on your channel. So that's the most important thing. If you're looking for some minimum thresholds, I would say that over here on Google Keyword Planner, you want to see at least 100 searches per month, which might seem really low, but you have to remember that most views on YouTube are actually coming from YouTube suggesting content, and there are tons of topics that people are not going out and searching for intentionally themselves, but the videos can still get millions of views for those topics. But seeing at least 100 searches per month here gives us an indicator that it is something that is relevant, that people are looking for. And then over on TubeBuddy, sometimes there's a number right here that tells you that monthly search volume, and sometimes there's not. And the main thing I want you to steer clear of is terms where it doesn't tell you a number, because that means TubeBuddy doesn't have the data. Now, that being said, like I say that with a caveat, TubeBuddy doesn't have all the answers. If you're seeing a lot of indicators in other places that it would be a good keyword for you to go after, then go for it. But if you are strictly looking at TubeBuddy, we want to just see a number here because it proves that TubeBuddy sees some sort of demand. Also, something to be super careful of. If you open up TubeBuddy's Keyword Explorer and you start searching for different keywords, let's say we go for this one right here, this calm sunset painting tutorial for beginners, and you type this in. Let's just see what happens. I have a guess. This is exactly what I thought would happen. It tells us this is excellent. It gives it a 100 out of 100 score. Now this keyword, it might actually be a great one, but as you can see right here, it's telling us that the search volume is like the highest it could be. So theoretically, that would mean that millions of people are searching for this term every month. But I just want you to pause for a moment and use your common sense. Do you think millions of people are searching for calm sunset painting tutorial for beginners every month? Does that make sense? Especially when we saw just a few moments ago that at least theoretically only a few thousand people are searching for galaxy painting tutorial each month, even though those videos were really popular. And basically what it is the longer of a keyword you are searching for, the more long tail the keyword is. TubeBuddy doesn't have any data because very, very, very few people are searching for this specific term. And when TubeBuddy has no data, for some reason, it tells you that the search volume is excellent. Now, the competition, that might be true, moderate competition, but then it concludes that therefore, this is an excellent keyword to go after. Now, we already saw that on someone's channel, it did get a lot of views, and so it could be a good keyword to go after, but just be aware that if you type anything long into TubeBuddy, it's gonna give you this answer 9 times out of 10. And finally, I wanna share with you a cool new hack you can use. This is brand new. YouTube just came out with this about 2 months ago. So all you need to do is go into your YouTube channel, click on Analytics, and then click on the Research tab right here, and it's gonna open up this new YouTube research tool. And so you can start either with your viewers' searches if you already have a fair amount of data on your channel. You can see what other topics your subscribers are searching for. So you'll see a little bit of crossover here with terms that are sending people to your videos if you go in and look at your analytics and you see what keywords are giving you traffic. But these are not necessarily keywords that people are using to find your videos. These are other keywords that your viewers, your subscribers are commonly searching. And so this can give you some ideas for maybe topics that you haven't thought about covering on your channel that your viewers are interested in. So this is a wealth of information. The other thing you can do is you can look at searches across YouTube. So you can just enter a topic like watercolor painting, and you can see the different topics that are getting searched and how popular they are, because it tells you the search volume on YouTube. And the reason that they're focusing here on search volume is, again, because that is what YouTube recommends as the most important factor for what topics you should make videos about. And now one more thing. This is amazing. YouTube in this tool has kind of like just handed us like the golden key. They have identified content gaps. So as you might recall earlier, I told you that a content gap is when there is a search term that is popular and also is not very competitive. And this is relatively uncommon, and it's really difficult to find them when you are just doing the research yourself, but this is the only tool that can find them for you. You can see a couple of them right here. This one is labeled as a content gap, and this one also. So these are keywords that are at least moderately popular, but there aren't that many videos about them. And the other thing you can do is you can click here and you can just search for content gaps only, and it's going to show you all content gaps. Now, you will notice that a lot of these terms are going to be ones that you are not interested in covering on your channel because they are often a bit more obscure. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's not going to instantly give you just tons of ideas, but I mean, in this popular category, watercolor painting, I'm seeing a bunch of ideas here that is really surprising to me that they are content gaps, but YouTube is telling us that they are and that there is not very much content on these topics. And you can also do the same thing if you're in your viewer searches. You can look at content gaps only and see what the content gaps are that your viewers are interested in. So like I said, that's practically just like handing you the golden key. I have no idea where this tool is going to go, even in the next few months, because it is so new and YouTube is still actively shaping it. But you should jump on it right now, because right now there is a wealth of information there that you can use to find some incredible keywords for your YouTube videos that can get your videos to rank higher. Well, that's everything for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me for it. If you enjoyed this tutorial format and you want to see more videos like this in the future, then be sure to let me know in the comments down below that you want to see tutorials, and also give this video a like. Also, if you want to see more videos from me like this in the future, then make sure you are subscribed to my channel. And if so, then I'll see you next week.